Hey y'all, today we're going to be making some yummy homemade cinnamon rolls. So to start out with, you're going to need a cup of warm milk, about 105 to 110 degrees. Now, if you don't have a thermometer to measure that or to take the temperature of it, for me, I put a cup of cold milk in my microwave for about 45 seconds and the temperature was perfect. So you can go by that if you don't have any way to check it. So to your warm milk, you're going to add a teaspoon of sugar and 1 packet of instant yeast. Or if you have like the bulk containers like I use, then 2 1/4 teaspoons of the yeast. So what you're going to do once your yeast is nice and activated is go ahead and add 1/2 cup of regular old white sugar and then 2 room temperature eggs. Now, if your eggs are cold, then you can run like hot water out of your faucet into a bowl and sit your eggs in it for about 10 minutes, and that will bring your eggs to room temperature. So there's a little tip for y'all. So we're going to add our 2 eggs, and then you're going to add some butter. You're going to add... How much butter did we add? 6 tablespoons of soft butter. And you don't have to cut them up like I did, but I was cutting something else up, and I just got to cut, I was cut happy, y'all. So then you're going to add in 4 cups of all-purpose flour and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now just go ahead, I mix my salt into my flour. Then we're just going to put this in the mixer with the dough hook, and we're going to let this mix for about 8 minutes or so, roughly. If you don't have a mixer and you're kneading by hand, you're going to need to knead this, for about 8 minutes. And that way we get our dough all good and stretchy and yummy and delicious. So once it gets to this stage, and it's kind of sticky, but it doesn't stick to your finger. See, it's not sticking to my finger. Then that's when your little dough is ready. Now you're going to need to spray a bowl with some cooking spray, or you can rub butter on it, however you choose to do it. Just something that's not going to let your dough stick. Then you're going to put your dough over in there, and I'm just kind of patting it to make sure that bottom part is good and coated with the oil, and then flip it over so that all of your sides are coated with the oil. You know what I'm saying? Then we're going to cover it, sit it in a warm place for about 2 hours. Or until it doubles in size. But that's about how long it took mine, because my house is cold. So then once it's sat for its couple of hours, you're going to go ahead and just kind of get a little of the air out of it. And then we're going to put it out on our little mat. And y'all know I'm going to link this down below for y'all too, because I love this doggone mat. This silicone mat is my best friend in the kitchen these days. But you're going to put your dough down, and I just put a little bit, I put a little too much flour, because y'all know me and flour. But I just scooted it over to the side in case I do need it. Just have it there in case I need it. I needed a little for the bottom, but I poured too much, so I put the extra over to the side. So now what we're going to do is roll our dough out, and you need to get it in as much of a rectangle as you can, and that way, the end pieces of your cinnamon rolls, you'll actually have end pieces. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, your dough kind of comes to a point. Does that make sense? Do y'all know what I'm saying? Anyway, mine ended up being about 1/4 inch thick. It's pretty thin. So once you get it all rolled out into your rectangle, go ahead and take some butter, and I used about, maybe 4 tablespoons of butter, and I let them get good and soft, and leave the edge. If you see the edge closest to where my counter goes up, where the plug-in is there, I didn't put anything on that edge because we need that edge to be able to seal these up. Then I added about 3/4 cup of brown sugar, and then I just sprinkled some cinnamon on there. Now it's probably, a couple of teaspoons, a couple of tablespoons maybe of cinnamon. Use however much you like. And what I should have done before I started rolling was press my brown sugar and cinnamon down kind of into that butter, because I kind of had to struggle because it kept trying to unroll on me because it didn't want to stick because it was just hitting that dry sugar. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all make I know y'all gonna make them, just push your brown sugar and stuff down into your butter, and that way you won't have to, it'll roll better, if that makes sense. So then once you get it all rolled up, you're going to pinch those seams together and try to get them pinched together pretty good so that your cinnamon rolls don't unroll on you. And so this part, I just cut in the center, and then I cut that in half, and then that in half, and I just cut until I have the amount of cinnamon rolls I want. Now, I could have stopped at like 8 cinnamon rolls. They would have been humongous. But I said, no, I'm going to go ahead and cut them. And I ended up with, I don't know, maybe 14 cinnamon rolls or something. But cut them however big you want them. Now, I didn't use dental floss, but I've heard that the dental floss, like, put it under your thing and then just, like, twist it, and then your rolls won't smush down. And mine kind of smushed as I cut them, but they pop right back up. So do however you want. You can cut them with a big old butcher knife if you want to. So once you get them all nice and cut, you're going to go ahead, grease your pan, and then we're going to put these in our pan. Now, don't shove them together too much, because they're going to get quite a bit bigger, okay? So just make sure that you get them in there, cover them up, and then we're going to let this sit for about another hour, hour and a half, and let those rise and double in size. So there they are, ready to go in the oven. We're going to put these in the oven, 350, for about 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, while those are baking, we're going to get our icing ready. Now, what you need for your icing is 2 tablespoons of soft butter and half of a block, or 4 ounces, of softened cream cheese. Now, you can definitely use your hand mixer for this if you want to, but if your cream cheese and your butter are soft, you really don't need it. So, I mean, don't mess it up if you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? So to our cream cheese and butter, we're going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla and just get that really good and mixed up. And then we're going to add some powdered sugar. Now, a lot of different recipes call for a whole lot of different things. I don't like overly sweet icing on my cinnamon rolls. I mean, I like it sweet, but I don't like it just so sweet that you can't hardly eat it. And I feel like 3/4 of a cup is plenty. You could probably even do a half a cup and just kind of taste it along the way and see how sweet you like it. But we're going to add this just a little bit at a time. That way we don't have powdered sugar flying everywhere. And just mix it up really good. And you know that the sorcery that is powdered sugar, as you stir powdered sugar into it, it thins it out. You know what I'm saying? If you've ever worked with powdered sugar like this, made any kind of icing, you know how that works. So I didn't think it was quite thin enough for my taste, so I added just a little bit of milk, and you can just add a tiny bit of milk, maybe a teaspoon at a time, until you get it to the thickness that you want it. And it was still a little bit thicker than I normally like, but it was fine. It was fine. It was delicious, I can tell you that. So once your cinnamon rolls are ready, now this is another thing that is a kind of a debate among different people. A lot of people will say let your cinnamon rolls cool first, or at least cool down some, and that way your icing doesn't melt. But I kind of like my icing to melt down in there, you know. And this doesn't melt all the way, and I'm putting this on straight out of the oven. Now, they have not had time to sit. They're hot. And you can see that my icing did not melt all the way, but it did melt a little bit to where some of that icing dripped down kind of in the cinnamon roll, and that's just the way I like it. But this amount of icing was the perfect amount for this amount of cinnamon rolls. So here we are, all iced up. Look how good they look, y'all. Don't them cinnamon rolls look good? I love me a good cinnamon roll now, especially when they're nice and warm. But anyway, these are our cinnamon rolls, y'all. And I did make a healthier version of these cinnamon rolls in a Christmas video that I did last year. And I'll link that down below for y'all too, if anybody's interested. I used like monk fruit and stuff. So you can do it any way you want to. Make it work for you. So that's it for me. I will pop y'all another video over here, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.